Question for you. I know there are differing politics inside of Blackstone, of course, but you yourself have been a large Democratic donor, have supported President Joe Biden in the past. There are now increasing calls for him to step down from the presidential race, hand the baton off, perhaps. How do you feel?
Well, the president is a good man. He has been a wonderful public servant. And like Speaker Pelosi said, he's gotten the votes in the Democratic primary. This is his decision. But I would hope he considers the really extreme physical toll of this business, of this job, I should say, over the next 4.5 years. And so, again, his call, but it is a very challenging physical job.
Are you looking to support Kamala Harris instead?
I'm going to wait and see what happens here on the Democratic side. I am a Democrat, but I'm going to let the process play out.
If Trump were to take the office after the November election, what would be the biggest change you think to the economy and markets?
Well, I think there would be a couple of them. Regulatory change could be pretty significant, particularly in the area of M&A and antitrust, which has made deal making a bit more challenging. I think on the energy side, the approach towards hydrocarbons and drilling would change pretty significantly. I still think renewables are a key part of the mix. We've got a real need for power. If you think about it in this country, power demand the last decade or so has been flat. It's now projected to be up 40%. Part of that is digital infrastructure. Part of that is this manufacturing resurgence that we've seen. So I think we'll see a change in energy policy. And then you talked about it. We could see a different environment for tariffs.
If you think about the election cycle and what we have seen so far, do you have any concerns as a business leader about unrest in this country?
I have a lot of confidence in this country. We have an incredible Madisonian system. We have so many patriotic people who are Republicans or independents or Democrats. I think most people want to see economic prosperity, want their children to have better lives, want the country to be safe and secure, there to be freedoms. I really believe ultimately, even though there's a lot more friction, social media, I think makes it tougher. I actually think people's goals are similar, and I think we'll find a way to get through this. The events of the last couple of weeks, particularly the assassination attempt, was very disturbing. There's no place for that in our country. And I really think we'll find a way to move forward. I have a lot of confidence in this country, and I know our firm does as well.
Since so much of the business rebound has been predicated on this idea of lower interest rates, do you worry about what the picture could look like going into 2025, especially with so many prominent economists warning that a tariff strategy or tax cuts, or further tax cuts rather, could lead to more inflation? Do you worry that the inflationary or disinflationary story could be interrupted?
Well, I think it's legitimate to be concerned about what happens with deficits over time. By the way, I view it as a bipartisan issue. Both sides have had their hand at this. I think it will require a bipartisan solution as well. I don't know if that'll happen in 2025, but I think long term as a country, finding solutions to get us back to a better fiscal path, that makes a lot of sense. And so I think it's worth looking at how can we get the growth in the debt to come down so it's manageable long term, so it doesn't eat up too much of our budget. I think that should be a goal of this country. There's so many positive things that are happening in terms of innovation. I think it's one area we've got to focus on. But I think near term, it's going to be more about the disinflation. That's probably going to drive the 10-year Treasury versus, let's say, the technical supply issues.
Biggest risk going into the end of the year, given that you're so positive about the direction of travel?
Well, I think the biggest risk is as rates are at this very elevated level, we see further slowdowns. We've seen unemployment move from 3.4 to 4.1. As companies see deceleration in their businesses, they could get more cautious. You could see more job losses, and you could see a slowdown in economic growth that's greater than most people are anticipating. That would be the risk. So far now, it feels like we're on this softer landing path and that the Fed is going to move to start to cut rates. And hopefully they can bring inflation down, unemployment will maybe go up a bit more, but modestly, and we'll power through this. That would be the hope, but the risk would be that we slow more than expected.